All right, guys, the #1 factor into becoming a successful fisherman is a patient wife. So remember that. And you ladies at home, listen to that. All right, guys, all jokes aside, today we are going to be looking at my 1969 Boston Whaler Minot and how we've converted it to a river fishing boat or a catfish setup. Okay, and we will go over some of the pros and cons from going from bank fishing my entire life to boat fishing out here on this Ohio River. So let's get right into it. We'll start back here at the back of the motor and go over everything. But I really enjoy watching everybody else's catfish boat setups, or just even their boats in general. I go into a trance watching everybody's setups. You can really learn a lot, and maybe you can learn something from my boat, customize your boat some way. Got any questions, just leave a comment below. All right, so what I have on here is a 110 horsepower Johnson long shaft, converted from the Vro oil pump to a 2-stroke pre-mixed. And this thing gets me around 41, 42 miles an hour on the river. It flies around. It may not sound a lot if you're driving in a car or something like that, but on the river, 40 miles an hour is plenty, especially for really strong current. And as light as this boat is, it is really light. This thing will cruise around. Really nice. And it also has power tilt and trim. Up at the helm I have foot pedals, but yeah, this thing is really convenient when you need to trim up and down to get on plane or just loading or unloading your boat at a steep boat ramp. Helps out a lot. We will get around over here and I'll show you the hull of the boat. As you can see, it's a Boston Whaler. It is a semi-V hull. It's not quite a deep V, but it is deep enough for everything I need to do out here on this choppy water. These things were designed for bay fishing and saltwater, offshore fishing a little bit, but they can definitely handle some choppy water. I've had it out in some 4-foot waves, 4-foot rollers out here on the Ohio River, and it handled well. But as you can see, we've got the semi-V pattern, and it will flatten out as you get to the back of the boat. It is sitting on a really light trailer, which is convenient. Nor'easter trailers, easy to pull. New wheel bearings and all that. Side bunks, so pretty convenient little trailer. And it's perfect for this 16-foot boat that's really light. This hull is actually a solid filled hull. It's kind of like a Carolina skiff, where you can cut this thing right in half and it's going to be just fine. It's not going to sink. It's a big selling point of this boat way back then. All right, now let's climb up in here and I'll show you guys the inside of the boat here. As you can see, it's nice and deep. Plenty of room back here. So yeah, it's a pretty comfortable ride sitting in here. Like I said, plenty of room, good and deep, nice for river fishing. But we'll go ahead and take a look at the back of the boat here. And we have some monster rod holders. These things have come in handy. I was using the TTop rod holders, which are kind of nice for just rod storage, but I was literally having to climb up here on the back of my boat and reach up here and get a long rod out of these, almost falling in the river every time. It's kind of scary. So we went ahead and installed these monster rod holders, and we just caught this decent sized flathead, and these things did not go anywhere. Really solid. I've got some roofing screws, metal roofing screws with the gaskets on them, and some marine sealant on the base plates. And these things have been really nice. Splash well there. I do have my drain down here and my bilge pump, which I have all my wires run through from the center console up here. And there is another drain in there. But before we get up there, we have got a giant gas tank on here, which is really nice because these old 2-strokes only get about 4 to 5 miles per gallon when you're running them hard down the river. But also has storage in here. I just keep my safety stuff in there, foghorn, my fire extinguisher, and on the other side I've got all my tackle and sinkers and all that, leader line. With a nice cushioned seat, which I plan on getting reupholstered. I plan on getting these seats reupholstered, maybe a gray or a red and black color. Painting the inside of this boat. This white has been terrible down here. Any guts or skipjack blood, or when you're throwing the cast net off the front, all the leaves and dirt that just gets in here, it is a mess. So I'm trying to figure out what kind of color and what kind of paint I need to refinish the inside here. Let's move on up here. I'll show you the center console. So this center console here actually came out of an old saltwater boat in North Carolina. Pulled it out of another boat, have it bolted down in here. And there's the tilt and trim buttons there. We have our entire rocker switches up here with all our lights, bilge pumps, gas, turn your gas on and off. I've got my gauges up here, water temperature, RPM, volts. And a really nice touch to the center console is the radio. It has a radio built in and Bluetooth connections down here, or auxiliary cords, which is super nice. Nav lights, and there's the speakers to the radio mounted up here on the T-top, and two more on each side of the center console. So this thing thumps. I've also got some courtesy lights around the bottom of the center console for walking around the boat at night, which is pretty cool. And a fuel gauge, which is cool. See how much gas I've got. It'd really suck if we ran out of gas out there. But all right, let's move on up here to the front of the boat. As you can see, we got another seat up here, which is great for passengers or just sitting here tying leaders on and new hooks. Really comfortable little seat. I would like to put a door in here and have more storage underneath of my center console here. That would be cool. So moving on up even farther, we've got our trolling motor. Now this is just a 40-pound thrust foot pedal trolling motor that I needed right away. I needed this thing in here ASAP. Yeah, I just needed one ASAP just to have, because it didn't have one at all. It's nothing fancy, it's no iPilot, it doesn't have GPS or anything like that, which you kind of do need for the river and dragging and drifting for baits, but it does the job for me and just cruising around and throwing the net and catching bait. So and down here we've got anchor storage, just to keep this is actually my rear anchor. I keep it up here just to keep it out of my way, and my main anchor is actually a Cat river anchors. One of these never lost style anchors with the zip ties on the chains, a breakaway anchor, so you never lose an anchor. A few 100-foot of rope in there. I keep my net over here as well. My throwable cushion there, cast net, everything stays over here. All right, so now we will take a look at the T-top. This thing is a blessing and a pain in my butt. Sometimes I just cannot stand this thing, but we'll take a look at it. As you can see, I've got flood / spotlights up here on the front of the boat. And this thing, with all the lights on it, it is just lit up at night. That is a big pro of this boat, is being able to night fish and having so many lights on here. Because it is really dark out there on the rivers and lakes at night. And that's very convenient. But as you can see, the T-top, we got a canvas tied on. Of course, I showed you the speakers. I got all my wiring just hidden, running up the side here. And it does keep me dry for the most part when I'm just sitting there and it's raining really hard. But when I'm running down the river, I kind of you get wet. There's nothing up here blocking any rain or elements from coming in here. But it also gives me plenty of shade. Like right now, it's really sunny, but I am sitting here in the shade and it's nice. Of course, I got a light bar back here for anchoring up at night and seeing the rods back here on the rod holders. And yeah, these are just strictly storage rods now. Unless we get 2 extra rods for trolling or something, we'll use 2 of those up there. Yeah, but the con of this T-top is that it gets in my way. It's completely in the way when you're back here trying to cast big rods off the back of the boat. You literally have to sidearm all your cast because this thing is directly in the way. But that's probably the only complaint I have in this thing, is it's in the way sometimes, but it has more uses than negatives, so we'll take it. But overall, going from bank fishing to boat fishing has been a blessing. We're able to move around and hop from barge to barge and log jam to log jam and hit so many different spots now. Easier to get bait. But my last few videos have been bank fishing for catfish and bait fish, because that's what I'm used to. That's what I'm used to filming my videos in that kind of format. Still learning where to put my cameras and figure this boat out, but we'll get to it. We've got some catfishing trips planned. We're gonna go on a few little road trips and get on some decent fish. So make sure you guys like this video, subscribe so you can follow along, see what we're doing this year, and see what we're catching out of this new little river rig we've got here. So this is the old antique Boston Whaler transformed into a river fishing beast. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos like this or related to fishing, just check out the title cards here or links in the description. See more fishing and boating videos. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you on the next video.